safety car robs Lando Norris of his second Formula One Grand Prix as we look forward to Spain for the 10th round of this 2024 season. It's episode 146 of the Eden Asphalt Podcast. All right, Marco. Been a while. Had some annoying work stuff get in the way. Quit your job. But yeah, I'm excited for this one because this one was probably one of the more, I mean, not one of the more top one, maybe two most exciting race that we saw with Canada. And Barcelona, not necessarily like the most exciting in years past. So we got to really latch on to this one before we just see what could be a stinker in Barca.
Yeah, it was the great part about Canada too. It was so unique in the way that Sunday played out too with the weather. I think the weather really changed how everything did. The fact that it was starting off no rain, rain, no rain, no rain, no rain, like five different times throughout the race. Yeah, I mean, it was strategy galore.
Yeah, I think, and I haven't worked out the logistics of it yet, but I think if Formula One could ever get to a place where they can control, maybe not the weather, obviously, but control like how
Where are we
wet the
going?
track can
What's going
control
on?
how wet the track is, maybe
Yeah.
have like some air, some water
Uh-huh.
blasters along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we're going into this weekend just hoping that Barcelona is going to give us the wet race that we want to see, thanks to
That
Canada.
could be like you ever watch Death Race, Jason Statham.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that there needs to be something like this where it's not like, hey, a blockade comes up in the middle of the track and kills a car, but you get some type of bonus where they're like, hey, we're going to go in for like intermediates, get the track wet, and then cars out and like softs, other side of the track, they're screwed. Kind of like that.
I like it too. We'll pass it on to our many contacts in the Formula One space. See if they give us the time of day like they always do. Episode 146 of the podcast, we have our hot lap recap, winners and losers, and then the race predictions and gambling predictions recap from Canada. And we'll look forward for our country fun facts and the Spanish Grand Preview with gambling and race predictions for Spain. This is a two for one,
Twofer.
our famous twofers. Let's get it going with our hot lap recap. Hot lap recap. Qualifying started with a bang where George Russell and Max Verstappen tied for pole. But since George went first, he was awarded the first spot on the grid. Sergio Perez, the poor guy, eliminated in Q1 once again. And shockingly, the Ferrari boys both out in Q2. So Saturday was a bit of a shakeup. Big surprise, or last kind of big surprise from quali was Danny Ricciardo wrapping up that P5 spot after taking a bunch of shots from Jacques Villeneuve out of nowhere, seemingly. He's like, why does he deserve to be in Formula One? What does he bring? And it's like, well, he just got a P5, so pretty poor timing on your part, buddy. But yeah, it with the kind of jumbled up grid, I think everybody went into the weekend knowing like this is going to be kind of a banger because one way or another, there's going to be passing. What we didn't know was what the weather was going to look like, and the weather delivered in a big way, played a big part in the drama that we saw. Everyone basically had the same idea of like, inters are the move here. Like we should all be on inters. We're all on inters, right? Everybody checked, and everybody said yes, except for the Haas boys, and boy did it pay off for them for 6 laps. They were barreling through the field. They started in P17 and P14, made it up to P8 and P4. And yeah, if that was one of those like the Trump like stop the count races where it's just like, hey, we need to end it after
This
7
is
laps.
great.
Let's go home. It's too rainy, but these guys, give them the podium that they were probably going to end up with. After that drama, rain kind of dried out, track dried out, rain didn't keep coming down, and the boys at Haas got brought back to reality a little bit. Outside of that, stop me if you've heard this before, but Logan Sargent caused a safety car and gave everybody a free stop. The safety car luck that Norris got in Miami, which gave him his first win, worked in reverse this time around. So, yeah, he was just kind of like a little bit too fast. If he was a couple seconds slower, he could have dipped into that pit lane, but he wasn't, so he had to go around the track, gave Max the lead, and then Max held on to that lead for the rest of the race. And the only other things, Charles and his strategy, the Ferrari strategy of bringing him in, waiting a minute or so to kind of see how things pan out, putting him onto slicks, bring him back in after 2 laps, putting him back out there. That made me nostalgic to the point that just brought me a lot of joy of like, man, these are, you can get rid of Chabi, you can get rid of his race engineer, but the boys are still the boys at the Ferrari pit wall. Luckily, it was an aberration for the Tifosi and Marco's gang, but we'll see if that continues. Carlos, Albon, Perez all joined the DNF party before the race was through, leaving the podium just as Verstappen, Norris, and George Russell there. And yeah, that's the hot lap recap.
Fantastic. Yeah. A couple of strong points. One, going back non-race, the Jacques Villeneuve stuff. Not only was it like I can kind of understand these past couple of years, right? But he trashed his entire career. He was like, yeah, when he was at Red Bull, Max was super young. Seb was in a really bad Ferrari. He was getting older. He gave up. He was really competing against no one except for Lewis. Like even his careers where he looked good didn't really deserve the credit he got. I was like, Jesus Christ, guy, dude, what did he do to you?
Yeah, one thing is just like it's most people's favorite driver, at least off the track, right? Most people would agree on that. I think it's just like he wants to become a hot take merchant, where he's just
Yeah.
like, "Did you hear what old Jacques Villeneuve said? Because I said some crazy stuff." Like it seemed a little bit like that, and then it was just so perfect that like he wants to go out on a limb, have this hot take, and then literally the next day, or maybe even the same day,
Yeah.
immediate. That's why he's still around here. Idiot.
Yeah. 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 And talking about Ferrari too, Saturday was just as bad too. They brought Charles out after 1 lap to like bring in. He's like, why? I understand. They're like, we'll tell you later. Oh, come on. He's like, I don't understand. Why am I? Is there a problem with the car? They're like, can't tell you right now. It's a secret.
Yeah. Stop asking so many questions, Charles.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like you're driving the car or anything.
Yeah, that was funny when he was just like, "Do I need to drive the
Do I
car?"
need? Yeah. He's like, do I
Is
need
there
to
anything-
park to the side? Is everything all right? And he's like, don't worry about it.
He's like, "Can you just shut up for a second and bring the car back?"
Car back.
All right, let's move on. Any last points on the hot lap recap, or should we just dive into winners and losers?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Winners and losers next up. All right, quick with the winners and losers today. My first, I mean, obviously, congrats to Max, 50 wins in the last 75 races. It's absurd. Good for him. My, kind of less, I guess, under the radar, less known under the radar winners. Alpine, double points for the Frenchies after a bit of drama heading into Canada. I bet, do you think like any of the tension that's obviously been there and been building up for a while? Do you think that they, clinked some glasses, drank some beers with each other, and were like, hey, that was a weird start to the season. Let's look forward? Or is it kind of like basically done now that Esteban's not going back?
In my opinion, for Ocon, probably raised it a little bit too. And he's like, look, I can still drive. You guys are making a bad mistake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, you guys, fuck you guys, I'm out. Like, I bet the more he succeeds, the probably the more awkward it gets. If he keeps sucking throughout the year, he's like, all right, kind of get it, not very well liked as a person, and also on the track, not great. But if he keeps doing well, regardless, kind of going off on a tangent, what team is he even in consideration for an open seat? I haven't seen anything tied to his name.
Not that I know of. Like maybe.
I think we're going to have a decent talking about kind of like silly season. I think we're going to have a decent shakeup in the grid this year, next year.
Yeah. Like at next year's silly season when that comes around, I think you're right. A lot of people are going to be wrapping up contracts. Yeah. Who knows, man? Esteban, maybe Mercedes. George shits the bed next year. Maybe he gets in with Kimi.
I could see Esteban having a stint with IndyCar. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the French guy in Ricky Bobby in Talladega.
Yeah, exactly. Where no one freaking likes.
The other winner, obvious one, we need more rain. Just rain giving the chaos. I know it didn't end up well, and they both finished just outside of the points. But seeing the Haas guys just like one lap, and they had passed like 3 or 4 cars, and then the next lap the same thing happens. It like in my head, I'm like, we got 2 more laps until they are in the lead, like
Also
together.
one,
They're
two,
one
yeah.
two. Like all we need is a little more rain, and yeah, that it was just so funny to see them like, I have a stupid brain, and when I saw that happening, I was like, oh, they are going to win this race because of that strategy. Didn't account for the whole rain drying out thing.
The rest of the 75 laps.
Yeah, those are the winners, and I have
Okay.
other stuff on here. Haas for the first 6 laps is stuff that we've talked about, but yeah, any other winners that I missed?
No, you nailed two of my three. So I said pit stops, similar to the rain, just the rain being on and off. Very interesting strategy too. Like when you were looking at the top three, looking at Max, George, and Lando, all like same line by line straight up, and then different strategies right there. I think it was very interesting to see that. Two of them go in the pits, one doesn't. One goes in the pits, two don't. So it kind of like back and forth and interesting. So that something we typically don't see. We're just like, hey, I think rain's going to come later. Keep it out there. Wait. So yeah, similar to you with the rain. My other one was going to be Haas. So K Mag, like you said, it was K Mag moved up 7 places after 2 laps, 9 after 3, Hulk 5 after 2. So yeah, just cruising through. It was probably one of the more entertaining and surprising, like unique starts to a race, especially for a back of the pack team to just be exploding past everyone, passing like not other shitty cars, like passing McLarens straight up, passing all these like top tier cars with ease. It was pretty impeccable. And then I say pit stops. This is kind of a bad 9 second pit stop for K Mag to ruin all the momentum that he had, and he's back at like 15. So yeah, moved up from 4 to 15 in the blink of an eye. That's a bummer. The only one that you didn't say that I had was Albon overtake of the year. I thought that the double overtake was spectacular, just like absolute precision, going to the left and then coming into the right to the second overtake right before the chicane was one of the cooler overtakes I've seen in a long time.
That was an overtake where it almost looked like he was a time traveler and knew exactly where both cars was going to
Dude,
be.
he's like,
He could thread that needle perfectly between those two
yeah,
cars. But yeah,
yeah,
no, definitely. Overtake of the season. I mean, probably one of the best ones that I've seen so far. That
yeah,
Lewis Hamilton double overtake, that one I think is a little bit overplayed just because, I mean, both cars it was Checo and Charles that were fighting, and then
hmm
Lewis blew through because both of them were kind of like slow and fighting and they were
yeah.
off track. And off the line, but yeah, I mean, Alex Albon, he's gonna have that. He's gonna be able to hang his hat on that for years to come. That was awesome.
I would gift that and just have that just 5 second passive overtake, bang, bang, just on my background.
Just send it to the different drivers like throughout the week. Just be like, hey, did you see this?
Especially the two driver's seat pads.
Yeah, dude, put them in a group chat. Just put
Remember
the
this,
GIF and
fellas?
then
Yeah.
question mark. Be like, hey, what was that about?
What was this? Yikes.
Pretty good. All right, and then losers. Lewis Hamilton, good race, P4, but got passed on the last lap by his teammate, robbing him of what would have been his only podium so far this year. Toto came on the radio and was just like, hey, Lewis, at least the car's getting better. Like, we can take a positive for that. Radio silence. Complete, like, Lewis just like, fuck you guys. Like, everything about this, like, it just seems like I really want that tension to boil up. So even though the car is getting, better and better, the Lewis Hamilton mafia on social media had to wait another race before they see their king get onto that podium.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to come full circle too for the amount of years that, I mean, the reason they passed, they kind of came on the radio with Lewis and be like, hey, we're openly racing, just be smart out there. Not maybe, 10 seconds later, he gets passed. And all the years, like, how many times would they be like, yeah, Bottas is going to pass you? Like, let it happen where you guys are racing. No, like this, he's had so much time of having it. Hey, I'm the number one driver. Let's make that a priority. I feel like, what goes around comes around a little bit, and maybe, little taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair point. He's gotten the
He's like, you
preference.
can't be like this. Like, why do you never let me do that? It's like, whoa.
He's like, we have about a decade of proof
Yeah,
that we did.
yeah, yeah.
All right, and then any other losers before we move on to our country fun facts for Spain?
Nailed Ferrari, that's out. Perez, that guy stinks. And also, Red Bull openly cheating. Don't think that's very cool. Just been like, hey, your car, you need a park, but you know what? Just risk it. Get back in the garage.
Yeah, be like, hey, don't say anything loud about it, and then we're gonna roll the dice on this
Hey,
one.
we're gonna like try to go over the intercom and hint that we know that your car shouldn't be driving, but we need you to keep driving to keep Max getting a win.
What if they came on the? 'Cause everybody can listen to the radio. Other teams are
Yeah,
listening to other teams'
yeah.
radios. What if they just tried like Pig Latin to try to be like ease play own days, like just like keep driving, your car's
Yeah,
broken,
yeah.
but shut up about it.
Yeah, not a bad move. But yeah, I mean, got what a place grid penalty coming into this race. What a $50,000 fine for Red Bull, something like that. Slap on the wrist.
Yeah,
If they
that's
don't do that move, there's a chance that Max win the race. It's crazy.
well. Back to him stinking, man. I think like I just wish Red Bull weren't the way that they are, where it's just like anytime somebody does poorly, immediately my brain goes to like, oh, he's got like 2 races left of doing that in the season, and it's a long season. But yeah, man, tough, tough all
It's
around.
weird too with how quick Red Bull was to throw out their second driver for not performing, and now these past couple of years, driver not performing like kind of week in and week out for gaps of time. I know like he picked it up second half of the season, but first half of the season last year, really, really bad as well. And they're just like, it's fine. Like our car's too good. We're gonna win, like constructors and drivers. We're gonna play the safe play, I guess. I guess like when you're on top, I guess why do you want to change?
I guess, yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. I hope he sticks around, but maybe just not in that Red Bull car. Have him be at Sauber at the Audi, you know? He'd
Yeah.
fit.
Uh,
All right, let's move on to our. Let's look forward coming up against Spain and go into our. Actually, Marco, why don't you do your Spanish Grand preview here? Why don't we do that?
Sure, let's do that. Okay. Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona, 14 turns, 66 laps, two DRS zones, and one speed trap going into turn one. Speaking of that, so basically one of the driver's favorite circuits. Not a huge fan of the fans, just because it's not known for overtaking. There's a few areas of overtaking. Like I said, the long straight going from turn 14 into turn one. That's where you're going to probably see the primary overtaking opportunities. The reason why it's one of the drivers' favorite circuits is because it has kind of a mix of everything. We have a long straight, we have some like long, slow corners, we have some short, tight corners. Kind of has everything. It allows the teams really to like it gives the teams the best gauge of who has the best overall kind of car setup. There's going to be a lot of oversteer. There's going to be a few turns that have a little bit of understeer. Very important to have strong front and rear wings. Typically, this is pretty hard on the tires just because there's so many different like variables and different types of parts of the track. Very heavy on the tires. So I think it's max on like the heaviest a track can be on tires. Most likely, we're going to see a three stoppers. Depends on the year. We've seen, I think last year was a two stopper. A couple years ago was a three stopper. So obviously pit stops are going to be a key fact into this race. Moving on to a couple other like important parts of the track. So most of the teams, I'd say probably it seems like all but Sauber, turns 13 and 14 are going to be able to go flat out around these turns. So just go balls to the wall against these two turns, which is very fun to see, kind of a flat out back-to-back turns. Turn three is going to be a fun, challenging right-hander. Really going to test the cars a lot to see how well the balance is on the car and if their downforce ability. This is going to be a track so there's a couple races in the next couple weeks that have like heavy downforce. This is going to be a good test for those teams, how good their downforce is. It's going to be very heavy on downforce and really going to give a gauge for these next couple races as well as we come into a back-to-back-to-back. Weather is going to be Friday, Saturday, 77, high and sunny. Sunday, 72, a little cooler with rain in the morning. I don't think rain's going to be coming in the afternoon, but it could affect actually driving on the track depending on how heavy the rain is. So that does it for our Spanish Grand Prix.
Hey, I have a piece of trivia for you. Since the Spanish Grand Prix of 2016, so that's not it's not trivia. It's just a fun fact that I saw I wanted to share.
Fair.
Since the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton 60 wins, Max Verstappen 60 wins, dude. This is
True.
going to decide who the better driver is since the Spanish Grand Prix of 2016.
True.
True, it is right. Yeah, good.
Hey, all right, dude. One for
Nice.
one on our new trivia sector.
It's just that's a good idea for a sector. We just say stuff and
Nice.
then the other one gets it right all the time.
It's very rare that we get things right, so it kind of feels good.
Speaking of that, let's talk about, or actually, let's keep on that same line and go country fun facts for Spain.
All right, country fun facts for Spain. Um, don't know about you. I didn't find a ton of fun facts. Seems like pretty generic stuff that I was like, yeah, checks out. Yeah, all makes sense. But did a little bit of digging. Let's see if I can get you here. All right, starting off, truth or lie? Spain is third in the world with the largest Spanish-speaking population. So two countries speak Spanish more than Spain.
Like,
Okay,
wait, what do you mean speak Spanish more than Spain? Like more, like higher population?
populate speak
Okay,
population.
okay.
Yes. Okay. Next, a relevant fact for June, but caveat fact that we don't support. Spain is one of the biggest adversaries for LGBTQ rights. Last one. Instead of the tooth fairy, Spain has a mouse called Ratoncito Perez, where the mouse comes around and takes teeth for little gifts.
I'm gonna go with the lie being number two.
Yes, they are one of the biggest adversaries, or one of the biggest supporters.
Nice. Good
Yeah,
job. Good job, Spain.
yeah.
Happy Pride Month, Spain. Good for you. All right, my turn. I'm gonna give you truth or lie here.
Okay.
Number one, truth. El Colacho is a festival in the small city in Spain where a man dressed as the devil jumps over babies laid down on a mattress, which is believed to cleanse the babies of sin. You can do baptism, or you can do this festival where someone dressed as a devil jumps over you.
Sounds
Same
way
thing.
better. Sounds
Same
way
result.
better.
Rapa de Bestas. In a village in Galicia, people participate in the annual tradition called Rapa de Bestas, where wild horses are rounded up, wrestled to the ground, and their manes and tails are trimmed with scissors. Number three, San Fermin, running of the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. Everybody sees that. You know, they're running away, the bulls are chasing them. Always a big scene. While scary optics, less than 20 people get hurt on average per year.
I'm gonna go with the horse.
The horse is true. That is
I'm gonna
true.
go with the devil jumping around.
That one is also true. Got you again. Running of the bulls, between 50 to 100 people get hurt every year, and they still
Good,
do it.
dude.
And they still do it.
Good. Well, I think I saw a stat about like the last time someone died and it was pretty low. It was like over the last X amount of years, only like 4 people have died. And that's where I was like, this is wrong. So
Yeah,
what is considered injury? Hospital injuries? Do you know? What did that fact say?
it's a good point. Maybe just emotional, but it's like I'm scared. I'm emotionally hurt.
Yeah. All right. So that's kind of like a open-ended fact.
Yeah, it's subjective fact.
Yeah, very subjective fact.
Subjective
What we like to
facts
do here.
should just be the name of this podcast.
Yeah.
F1 subjective facts. All right, let's wrap up with our race predictions and gambling recaps, both for Canada and Spain. All right, going into the weekend where we stood on gambling, Marco, your record was 10-14, up 6.2 units. My record was 13-13, up 4.5 units. I did nail Lewis Hamilton, top six. That was even money for a unit. That was the only thing I got. So I'm now 14-15, lost my other two, but still up 4 units. Not too bad.
Yeah, I was going in 9-13. Had Perez podium. Found out Saturday pretty quickly that that was a stinker. And then I did under 17.5 cars classified, 1 unit. Nailed that pretty easily. So I had 6.2. I'm just over 6 units right now. So keep the decline going for me.
Let's ride. And then as far as gambling this weekend, what do you got?
All right, gambling this week, I got Max Winner, 2 units, minus 210. I got
Really?
Sargent to finish last, half a unit plus 350. This guy's got to finish last sometime. And then, all right, so forgot to add on 7 teams are coming into this weekend with upgrades, some very small, some a little bit more. The team with the most upgrades is RB. I'm going to go with Yuki top 8, half a unit plus 400.
I like that. I like that. Um, I'm gonna go someone somewhat similar. So I had three, and I'm realizing one I really hate now. So I'm gonna go with two, a unit each. Racing Bulls fastest car in qualifying without the top five teams, without Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, or
This
Aston Martin.
guy.
And I'm gonna do Nico Hulkenberg in the points. He was right there last week. All we need is a little extra luck, and that's plus 180. Give me a unit on that too.
What was
My
the
my one that I
RB
didn't
one?
do, that was going to be Sergio Perez top four minus 110. I was going to put 2 units on that, and I don't like that at all. So
Hmm.
I don't trust him to get in the top four. First, he's got to get into Q3 before I put a bet on him getting top four.
Yeah, that makes sense. What was the RB fastest qualifying odds there?
Fastest qualifying car just has to be a Racing Bull.
No, what was the odds?
Oh,
I don't think you
minus
said that.
150. Minus
Minus
150.
150, 1 unit on that one.
1 unit.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
I've been the last, I don't know, 4 weeks, I've been just going off gut feeling. This is going to be my last week where if I do lose, I'm going to start digging into some numbers because something's got to change.
I mean, you had such a big cushion with that
It
lay.
was so fun, dude. I was like 12 units above. It's so easy.
Got cut in half in 3 race weekends.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
What are
All
you
right.
going to do?
Lastly, let's wrap up the wrap up here with our race predictions recap for Canada, and then our race predictions for Spain. Predictions recap. We went in 4-5. I was leading 5-4. I got 5 cars right. Marco fastest lap was Lewis Hamilton, so you got that right. We're now 5-6. Marco, give me your race predictions for Spain. I'm 1 point ahead of you.
My race prediction for Spain is going to be who doesn't finish? Alonso, home race. Driver of the day, Carlos Sainz, home race. Douche of the day, haven't picked Lance Stroll in a minute, so I'm going to go with him. Wildcard prediction, Sargent, top 12.
Okay.
Oh, dude, exact same.
I mean,
I said we both right. Dude, I mean, what are you odds?
yeah, dude. I'd shake hands on
That's awesome. The
that.
exact same numbers? That's crazy. We could have done 10. That's just ridiculous. He's not going to score his first point. Are you serious?
We're not close.
Fastest lap, Oscar Piastri. How many cars don't finish? I'm going to go with 1.
I like it, especially your wild card prediction. I'm gonna go who doesn't finish. Give me Sergio Perez to put up another stinker and retire the car. Oscar Piastri, driver of the day. Sergio Perez, douche of the day. Logan Sargent, top 12 was also my wild card prediction. We're riding. Fastest lap, George Russell, and then 3 cars not to finish this race. Man, it's 2 for season, by the way, because the race after Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken, it's Austria a week after that, and then the British
Great
Grand
Britain.
Prix is a week
Yeah.
after that. So it's
It,
2 for season. Thanks in advance to our wonderful intern Carrie. You're a queen. And,
sweet angel.
and yeah, any last closing thoughts here other than hoping Ferrari have a better weekend than last time?
Yeah, that would be nice. One fun fact I forgot to mention, though, that I saw that blew my mind. Logan Sargent 0 for 30 in qualifying against his teammate Alex Albon, but has outqualified Sergio Perez 6 times. It's the same stat.
That's just
Not good.
not, yeah. You
That's a
hate
tough pill to swallow there. If Sargent's fighting for his seat, which he clearly won't have, that's number page 1 on my PowerPoint being like, 6 times have I beat a Red Bull car in qualifying.
Yeah, dude. Where do I sign, basically? You seen this
Yeah.
stat?
It's like,
Where do I?
guys, come on. The numbers are staring you right in the face.
Reserve driver Logan has a nice ring to it. You'll stay there at Williams as a reserve driver behind Alex and Carlos, and
Apparently, Carlos still, I saw stuff today. It's been like, every team that has an open seat has given me a contract. Like, I will be signing soon. It's got to be Williams. It seems like it was pretty official, but I don't know why he's like pretty against admitting it.
he's just ramping up that money. I'm sure he's probably
Yeah.
just going back. It's like when you have a job offer and you go back to the other people, be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you gave me like
Oh, they just matched
thousand
me.
more
So that is
dollars."
actually very smart. He's like, every person on the grid's is giving me a super lucrative contract, Williams.
Plus, I have a couple of Formula E offers that I won't even talk about. So,
Uh,
all
interesting.
right.
Hopefully, we find out this weekend, get that down out of the way.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Everybody enjoy the Spanish Grand Prix, and we'll see you on the other side for another twofer. See you, assholes.
See ya.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I live my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.